Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coach Baseball Right podcast. I'm your host and founder of Coach Baseball Right, Steve Nicolarat. Join us as we go inside, outside, and all around baseball, discussing how to coach baseball the right way. In today's Coach Baseball Right's podcast, I'm really excited to bring to you our interview with Steve Bieser, head baseball coach at the University of Missouri. Steve's entering his third year as the head baseball coach at Mizzou. He has a 2-year record of 70 and 45, and he came to the University of Missouri after 4 years of coaching at Southeast Missouri. Steve's record at Southeast Missouri State was 138 and 97, and he was 3-time OVC Coach of the Year. Steve has a professional playing career involving 13 seasons of professional baseball, 9 of those being at the AAA level or higher. He was drafted in 1989 by the Philadelphia Phillies in the 32nd round, and he made his major league debut in 1997 with the New York Mets. I think what you're really going to enjoy in this interview is Steve's journey, his playing journey from St. Genevieve all the way to the big leagues. I think you're also going to enjoy his take on recruiting and the importance of recruiting a quality student athlete. Steve talked about the importance of building proper team culture within your program and how difficult that can be. And also, Steve touched on his use of pitch recognition software. It was a fascinating interview, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hi, everybody. We are here with Steve Bieser, head baseball coach at the University of Missouri. Steve, thanks so much for being on the Coach Baseball Right podcast.
Well, Steve, I appreciate it. I enjoy talking baseball anytime I get the opportunity to.
Well, tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun. Hey, our Coaching Baseball Right program is all about helping organizations, coaches, and parents transform baseball experiences and developments. We started the podcast to allow our listeners to hear different perspectives on coaching baseball the right way. And we're really happy to have you with us because I think you do a great job with coaching baseball, and you have so much to share with our listeners. So with that being said, you have an amazing career, not only coaching career, but you have a whole career before your coaching career, all the way from high school to the big leagues. Can you share some highlights of that journey?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, really, probably the best way to describe it is just unbelievable. I grew up in a small town of 4,000, and I would say there was 3,999 people that would have never guessed that I would have been the guy out of that small town to be able to go on and much less play in the major leagues, but to play even college baseball. And it was a battle. It was in high school I can remember being the smallest kid in the class, and I remember starting my freshman year and I weighed 90 pounds and just a very small guy, very small frame, and really didn't mature until really I hit college, and that made it very difficult for me to play a game that I really loved, and remember wrestling 98 pounds as a junior in high school, and I think the thing that really kind of drove me was the fact that I had such a good high school coach and a guy named Mike Sherry who pushed me hard. I mean, he gave me challenges that, one of the things was, hey, if you don't weigh 130 pounds by your senior year, you're not going to catch for me. You're going to have to play the outfield or do something else. And it just gave me kind of goals, and I set those goals to kind of reach that. And I'm not sure that I weighed 130 pounds, but I came in and soaking wet and made sure that he was going to allow me to catch. But that I think he instilled a lot of toughness and a lot of fight in me, and the journey was never easy. I was a walk-on at junior college at Jefferson Junior College, and I almost feel really, and when you look back at it, I was a tag along of a couple of guys that I played Legion ball with in the summer that were really good, and Coach Oster gave me an opportunity to walk on and appreciate him taking that chance on me, and it's still at that time I'd really never hit the growth spurt and really didn't deserve to be an everyday player at that level, And he was very honest with me and said that, Steve, you're not going to be an everyday player. We're going to bring in, some other guys. And it just so happened that Coach Lowry out at Mineral Area said, hey, come over here. We got an opening. And he gave me a chance. And that's really kind of, I think, where finally I started growing. Things started working out. And, he put me in the lineup every single day, every single game. And just had kind of a career year. And again, nothing really jumped out from an offer, but I was able to get a Division II scholarship, a small scholarship at Southeast Missouri State, my alma mater. Now that I went back then and was even able to coach at, but having that opportunity to go play there and just continue to develop. My journey's always been one of just got fortunate, got seen by the right guy on the right day, and the Phillies took a chance on me in the 32nd round and gave me a ball cap and said, come play in our system. And my journey in professional baseball was the same way. I felt like, that, and I touched every step in the Philly system, from low A ball all the way through. And it took me 4 years to get to AAA. And then I spent another 4 years at AAA, before I kind of had a breakthrough year after becoming a minor league free agent with the Expos. They signed me, and I had a MVP type season. I happened to be playing in a league that Bobby Valentine was coaching AAA in Norfolk, Virginia, and played some pretty good series against them. And he gets the big league job with the New York Mets and invites me into spring training, and I make his team out of spring training. So there's just so many people when you think about it, and to be thankful for that your paths crossed and you made that connection. But him giving me that opportunity as really what I think most people tabbed as a career minor leaguer, and I felt I went in and made the most of that, and just it was kind of surreal. My opening day was they're reading the lineups, and I'm opening up out in San Diego, and their lineups, Ricky Henderson's leading off, and Tony Gwynn's hitting third, and you can just go through their Hall of Fame type guys that was on that roster, and had an opportunity to play with some really, really good guys with the New York Mets and Pittsburgh Pirates. But it's just, it's been quite the journey, and I feel blessed to have been part of it.
But you described something that I'm not sure a lot of the kids today would really, really do. And that's this. At all the stops, especially early as a young kid, and then onto the junior college circuit with down at Jefferson, nothing was guaranteed to you. And you had the perseverance to keep going and keep fighting. And I do think at the time frame that you were growing up that kids did that. But I'm not sure today that's a value, or I'm not sure that we have enough kids that are really willing to do what you did then today. Because if it's tough today, you got a lot of other choices. You can go and play another sport. You can do something else.
Yeah, I think, as coaches, it's kind of a word thrown around. We always talk about toughness and, back in the day. And I think kids today have some toughness to them, but it is different. It's a little bit different toughness, and there are so many things I think that really grab at our kids today and catch their attention, and there are times that some people like this looks more glamorous and this would be easy, but no doubt my career, from day one to I feel the same way right now. I don't take a single day for granted. I know I got to fight and for every single day, and to try to do my best with the ability that I have. And I think that, those are things as coaches, we want our players to kind of feel the same way, that nothing's given. You have to earn everything, and you have to work extremely hard for those things. And it has to mean a lot to you for you to really invest and put that type of effort into things. That's for sure.
Hey, what one thing do you wish you would have known when you were playing that you didn't know, that might have really helped in your journey?
Yeah, I think about that question, and really the way that I would answer that is nothing. I think that's what made the journey so enjoyable, was the fact that, that you don't know what's around that next corner, and you really just, I think about, the pro days. There wasn't a single day of my professional playing career, which lasted for 13 years. There wasn't a single day that I was confident walking into that, into spring training or into the clubhouse that I was going to be there the next day. It always felt like, you see guys going in and out constantly, and like, when's my day coming? And I think that's what really challenged me every day, is never to let my guard down, and that allowed me to stick around, for a long time. And I did a lot of different things, a lot of things that people would say you're crazy. I mean, my high school sweetheart and I got married after my first year in pro ball, and there weren't many married guys at the low A level. And then the next year we decided to have our first child, and there was nobody on our team at that level, at age 22 that had children. And then I think you start thinking about, it's not just your childhood dream anymore. It's, you've got a family, and you got to do everything you can for them. So there's a lot of things that the things I say is like, yeah, that probably wasn't very smart, but I think, God has a plan for us all, and I think that path is something that we follow, and we do it to the best of our ability. And so, like I said, I feel very blessed to have the opportunities that I've had along the way, and always praying for more of those opportunities to come.
Let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about Missouri recruiting and so forth. When you recruit to the University of Missouri, what is it that makes your school, your program, so attractive to a high school kid?
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of my job, and I sell this university every single day, and I would say what is it that doesn't make our school so attractive? I mean, when I think about the university and the academics and Nobel Peace Prize winners just come out of the university, and our academics are very demanding, and that's one of the things that some of our players struggle with is how difficult school can be. But it's the challenge that I think that our guys eventually, again, that they start to embrace and enjoy that challenge. And when I first got there, our academics were not what I thought they could be or should be, and it's been you set those expectations and standards of your program that as a team we want to have over a 3.0 GPA, and we're going to reach that. We had a 2.99 last year, and we're going to reach that 3.0, and I told our team that we're going to be a 3.25 before I even realized what the grading system was like at the University of Missouri, and we're at A minus. There's certain A's that aren't 4.0. The A minus is not a 4.0, and it's a different grading scale, and it's been very challenging for us to get to the 3.25. But I do believe that we're continuing to climb, and I'm just impressed of how good of an academic school the University of Missouri is. I guess from an outside, I didn't really recognize that, and the community. It's just such a great college town. To me, the perfect. And when even when I look in the SEC and I'm looking around at some of the other cities in the SEC, then to me it's the perfect college town, and can rival just about any city in the SEC. And then the last thing is that we play in the best sports conference in college, and the SEC is attractive, especially when you're talking football and you're talking baseball. Those are the two big sports in the SEC that people get really excited about, and it definitely helps. From a recruiting trail, it really helps us.
So I guess when I'm listening to your response to that question, then the next question is pretty easy. When you're recruiting a kid, I'm sure that the academic profile that he offers is really important when you're looking at him.
Oh, it's extremely important, and I use that profile for so many things, not just to see whether or not the young man can do well and stay eligible, but to me it tells you a lot about the athlete. The players that are coming to us, they're pretty advanced and high level with their skill. But when you see a guy that really attacks the classroom and does really well in the classroom, it tells you a lot about his work ethic and just everything that he brings to the table. And I can tell you some of my most successful ball players have not always been the guys with the most skill, but it's the guys that really have an aptitude for learning and just have a great work ethic. And that's the first thing that I look at is the academic package and then want to really connect with, the coaches, people that's coached him. And the biggest thing for me is, having that high school background and understanding the high school setting maybe a little better than some of the other guys that's just been strictly college guys is, when you call or when you reach out to a high school English teacher or somebody that's really not even connected to the baseball side of it and get feedback from the teachers that had an opportunity to teach these young men in the classroom and you get good feedback, you know you're on the right guy and you've got a good chance for that person to succeed in your program.
I was thinking about this in terms of my years of coaching, and I've kind of noticed a change in the recruiting process, right? I mean, many college coaches today, they don't really communicate with the high school coach. They seem to recruit from other sources, the showcase events, the tournaments, the camps. Is that your model as well, or am I hearing you suggesting that maybe you're going to go an extra step and maybe talk to a high school coach or maybe even a high school teacher to find out more about the kid?
Yeah, I think it's important for all those avenues, and the landscape has changed a lot. There's these you could go to Atlanta and do your recruiting. You could sit in Atlanta all summer long because all the teams that there's a lot of elite teams that are coming through there, and you have an opportunity to see that. I think one of the reasons that we see college recruiters kind of lean to the summer coach side is because that's really who they know, because that's the guys that they get a chance to talk to during the summer, and the fact that the high school season and the college season kind of coincide there, and we don't do a lot of recruiting during our season. We don't get out to see many high school games, and I've always kind of been a coach that says we only have 3 coaches that can actually go recruiting, and we've got to really pay attention and give the players that are on campus our full attention, and then we'll kind of get our recruiting done in the summer. And recruiting's kind of, the landscape there has changed on how early you recruit kids. So you're looking, in the summer you're looking for classes that's 2 to 3 years away from graduation. So kind of getting in that cycle, you get a chance to recruit all of your players during the summer, and then for me, especially in the St. Louis area, the high school coaches that I know, that's usually going to be my first call, and I wouldn't say that that's probably not my recruiting coordinator's first call, because you don't have those connections, you haven't come from the high school setting, and I think that's why we see a lot of the recruiting kind of go through the summer coach, but I think you can learn so much from the high school coach because of the high school coach has probably had the young man in class and has been with him for 4 years and sees that face every day and sees the attitude at school, and to me it's really beneficial to go through the high school coach.
Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that I think you started to do this when you were at Southeast Missouri. Peter Fatty, GameSense?
Yes.
The pitch recognition program. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you use it, and what you see the benefits to be? Yeah,
it's, again, it's people stumble across your path, and I just finished my first season in 2013 as a head coach there at Southeast Missouri State, and that summer, Dr. Fatty is over at SIU, Carbondale, and doing some work there, and he wanted to swing by and talk to talked to me and my staff about this program that he had entitled Pitch Recognition, and we were kind of all ears and decided to sit down and listen. And then as I'm listening, I'm thinking, well, some of the stuff that he's saying is it's not going to be invasive on what we already do from a program, and I'm glad that I listened and really dug in and started to learn more about the pitch recognition system, because you look at the value that it added to our program. I mean, we tracked 3 straight years of the development from our guys, and just seeing 40% growth in area year after year, and it really helped our offense. I mean, there at Southeast for those 3 years, we were the highest scoring offense in all of college baseball for those 3 years. And the only thing that I did different going from the high school setting to the college setting was really adopt the pitch recognition program, and still continue to do the same things that I'd already had a good background in, and really thought was important to win ball games, to develop players. And when we started talking about it, the pitch recognition system, and I remember Dr. Fatty saying that he tried to present this like 20 years ago at the ABCA conference, and people just kind of laughed at him like, there's no way you can help a hitter by watching a video screen, and that really wasn't all he was talking about. He understood that the video screen is one component, and that we were kind of the pilots to helping figure out what are those things that you can do on field, and all coaches do. You get in that early preseason and you have hitters stand in during the pitcher's bullpens, and people were already doing things like that from a pitch recognition standpoint, and creating drills and net occlusion drills that you can do in a small space. And those were the things that we started instituting into our hitting philosophy, and it really put an emphasis on us focusing on the pitcher and how quick we could pick up pitches, and his video system has come full circle. At first, when he was kind of, and just to be honest, at first when he was showing me the video stuff, I knew that we at Southeast could produce a video like that would even be more relevant, because we could take pictures, our own pictures, and not model pictures, and we were doing that for a while, and then all of a sudden he comes out with the game sense and realized that now this is what we were looking for, a bunch of different models with a bunch of different looks, and how we're using it now at the University of Missouri is we just call this our homework station, that I want guys to knock out, get a couple rounds every single day. You go home, they've got their phones, they got their app, pull up the app and really just focus and get some reps with the GameSense app, because I think it's just an outstanding app.
It is. I had the pleasure to talk with Peter, and I kind of did some beta testing for him, and I was really impressed with it. And I realized that you were doing it, and I thought, yep, it makes sense, because you've always been that kind of guy to think outside the box.
This podcast is powered by E3 Consultants Group. E3 wants to awaken the inner entrepreneur in anyone who is ready to take control of their financial picture. E3's family office model is prepared to serve individuals, families, and business owners with the right mindset, regardless of your net worth. E3 Consultants Group believes it's time for a new age of enlightenment. People need people to take responsibility for their financial well-being. The problem rests with inactivity, in sitting back and doing nothing. Essentially, we've allowed an entitlement society to overtake our ability to succeed or fail on our own merits. If you are ready to equip yourself with the knowledge and strategies to break out of this cycle and take your financial picture to the next level, then E3's business model is ready to assist you in thinking differently. If you are an entrepreneur, who is helping you get to the next level? Are there financial roadblocks standing in your way? At E3 Consultants Group, their mindset is all about optimizing the tools of time,
talent, and capital. Whether it happens through cash flow awareness, income tax strategies, business consulting, privatized banking strategies, wealth management, or asset protection, E3 is ready to take your mindset from worry to wealth to worthiness. John Moriarty, the founder and president of E3, is a longtime supporter of Coach Baseball Right. Visit their websites, www.e3cg.com or www.e3wealth.com, or contact John Moriarty directly at 314-805-9349 to learn more. Tell him Coach Nicolarot sent you. It's time to think differently. E3 Consultants Group, education, empower, enlighten.
Now let's continue this college baseball discussion a little bit now. Can you give me the biggest difference for you coaching college baseball and coaching high school baseball?
I think about all the levels, and I think the game's the same, but the one thing that changes is just the speed of the game. And I say that also knowing that the speed of the game to the high school player, it feels like a fast game. And then you take that next jump to college baseball, and at Southeast it seemed like it got a lot faster. And then I go from Southeast to Missouri and the SEC, and it got faster. And then I think to the pro days, and then realizing that we watch a major league game and it just seems everything looks so smooth, and little do we realize how fast that play is going down on the field, because they just make it look so easy. But I think that's one of the biggest differences is the speed of the game. The high school game to me was very pure. You have a lot of guys there that don't have a lot of aspirations. I shouldn't say they don't have it, but they realize that college baseball, probably playing college, is not, they're there to enjoy time with their teammates and understand that, they may have an education, they've got a degree that they want to go pursue at a college, and they know that they can't play at the Division I level, and all those things that go along with trying to play college baseball. But really enjoyed the high school level. There was no doubt that I enjoyed every minute of the high school level, and enjoyed coaching at that level, just like I enjoy what I'm doing now as well.
When you were at the high school level coaching, of course, you were in the classroom teaching, and I happen to have quite a few friends over at Vianney, and they always talked about you were an outstanding math teacher, I guess. And not every coach is a great teacher. I wish I could say that we all are, but not every coach has that skill set. Can you articulate how that skill set, being a good teacher, plays into your coaching now?
Yeah, I think it definitely, being in the classroom, it makes you a better coach. But, when I hear that I was a good math teacher, I can tell you that there wasn't many things harder that I've done in my life, because you think about it, it was almost 14 years since I got out of college, and I get thrown in. Not that I got thrown into it. I really wanted to go back and teach math and coach, and here I am, just like all the things that I forgot. And I'm just I'm battling the first couple of years to try to stay ahead of the guys in the classroom, and hoping that that they're not discovering that, hey, he's a little behind, he's a little slow, and it took a lot of effort to catch back up, and I think it definitely helped having some credibility as being a coach. That it also helped me in the classroom. And then when I think about how that also, on a flip side, being a teacher, how much better of a coach it makes you. And I share this with some of the guys that are on my staff now. And I'm a big, I didn't read much when I was playing pro ball. I didn't listen to, well, there wasn't a lot of podcasts or anything to listen to, but I listen to a lot of different things and read a lot now, and just think about, how we coach sometimes. It's, you put all your guys out of the position on the field and you're screaming and hoping they hear you, and there's no eye-to-eye contact, and we feel like that's the best way to coach. And I started thinking back about the classroom, and what do? We sit them down in front of us, and we get the eye contact, and that's something that I started to do when I got to the college level of using the classroom more to coach baseball. And I think that's been very beneficial for our players to do it that way. But I think that some of the things that's helped me in the coaching profession is really having that experience as an everyday classroom teacher. It's really helped just immensely. I don't even know how to describe how much it has helped, but I know that it's had a big impact on the way that I do coach now.
Hey, what is it that you wish that all high school kids, all youth players knew, but they really don't know? You wish that when they arrived on your campus ready to play, you sort of wish they had this, but most of them don't. What is it that you wish that the kids would realize?
Yeah, I don't even know if this is just high school, but I just, one of the things is about, just how to be a great teammate. And I think we all, we kind of compete against each other all the time, and it's a real challenge to create a team atmosphere, to create guys that are playing for one another, that's willing to serve one another, because we're all trying to get a leg up on each other, and we're fighting for starting positions. But and a big thing for me in my programs has always been the culture, and trying to drive a culture that is willing to serve one another. I've always, the cliches that I always use, the more you give, the more you get, and learning to serve one another. And if we can do those things, you're going to find out that you're going to end up with, we're chasing numbers, whether it's a batting average or an ERA. We're chasing those numbers, but if we learn to work together and be a great teammate and support one another, that we're going to get a lot more out of it. And I think that's at every level. And, it's no more at the pro level, it's worse until you get to the major league level. I mean, because you are battling to, you're surviving to try to get through the system. But, it's something that I think that I know even I've always tried it, but just, maybe not put enough effort into talking at the high school level when I was coaching that, we can do a better job. We're in this together. Let's support one another. You talk about servant leadership and all those things that we know that, we're not just at that level. We're really, it's not about the baseball as much as it is just developing good young men. And I feel the same way here, and we're in the most, the most competitive conference in college baseball, and still I feel very, very driven to develop young men that's going to understand a lot of the values that we're trying to get across, not only on the baseball field but in life, and that's just something that we work on every single day. But other things, it's I think we're putting I think our players sometimes, and young players, put themselves in a box, and they're wanting to specialize in just one thing, and they're still at such an impressionable age and skill set that there might be more there. I might be one of the few college baseball coaches at our level that believe that there's a lot of value into playing multiple sports and not specializing in one sport. And I've heard a lot of different arguments about it's better to or it's not better to, but I just think the value of competing on a team, whether it's a football team and then it's a basketball team and it's a baseball team, but the value of competing on team just teaches us so much. I think high school athletics does.
I couldn't agree with you more. The idea of letting kids play multiple sports and create a different set of friends, learn from different kinds of coaches, learn how their body works in different ways. I just think playing multiple sports is a great thing, and when kids specialize too early, I think it's a darn shame. Now, I always loved practice. I love planning practice. I enjoyed the flow and the pace of a great practice. Can you describe for me your practice planning process, how much time you spend preparing, things like that?
Yeah, I probably spend more time than the average person, and that may just be because I'm not very smart, or I'm sort of a perfectionist, and whenever it doesn't look right, I'm going to go back and try to restructure and continue to do it. But the right thing to do in practice planning is I always start. I know February 15th is my start date, and my first game that will open up down in Florida here, and just start working backwards. It's knowing what I want our team to be able to do on February 15th, and try to just back everything up and know the days and the time. And the college level, we're very structured on, you got 6 days a week during your championship season. You only have 5 days a week, and you got these blocks where you only get 4 hours a week to work during the college fall on certain weeks, and only 20 hours a week. So it's really hard when you think about the game of baseball to get everything in that amount of time, and it is a rush. But really having that what should it look like on opening day, and then just trying to work backwards, and it all has to funnel back to the basic fundamentals. Being in spring training with Tony La Russa with the Cardinals, the one thing that was there for 2 years, and the one thing that every year, and he made a point to make sure that all the veterans knew this, that we're starting from ground zero, we're starting from scratch, just like you guys don't know what our bunt coverages were, and this and that we're going to use, and we're going to build it up. And I think that's very important, that you don't take for granted that guys really know what you're doing or how you're doing it, and just have to be very thorough. And when it comes to the practice planning, it's I think some guys are really good at it and really quick at it. It takes me a little bit longer because I just want it to be. I want to make sure it's right, and I want to make sure that we've covered everything. And I feel like I've let the team down if we get into opening day and we get caught by surprise on something and we hadn't prepared for it or talked about it, then that was just kind of bad planning on my part.
Hey, do you think the kids today in youth baseball, do you think they're playing too much, not enough practice, or is there a good balance going on? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we're getting caught up in, the game and not really getting a lot of practice. And I say that just based on, I coached summer baseball quite a bit when I was coaching high school baseball, and I can remember, coaching American Legion ball, and you really didn't have many practices, if any practices, because we were playing almost 3-4 games a week, and it was just, okay, show up, we'll do it a little bit before the game and just play. And I think there's some things being missed in the game. There's some there's times now that we see players that come to us that haven't been coached in some of the basic fundamentals. A lot of it's just because of the time, and the time demands to coach all that because we're playing so many games. And but I think it's the world we live in now. It's go play, showcase yourself in front of college scouts, and you just got to keep playing, and you got to be in the right place at the right time, and I think that's why we're just throwing a lot of games on our kids.
Hey, last question for you. What would you say to a dad who wants his kid to be seen so he can play at the next level? What advice would you give that dad?
Well, I mean, it just kind of contradicts what I just said about, I think we're playing so much, but what we have to do as college coaches now is we can't be. It's no longer that we're going to see one player here or there, because we're trying to see as many players as we can over the summer, and we haven't really done any single player recruiting. We'll do it in our state, maybe closer to our area, but typically, if you want to be in front of a lot of scouts, a lot of recruiters, you need to find those highly, those select tournaments that all the teams are going to right now. And then I guess on top of that, the one thing that, as a dad to a ball player, my son played college baseball and had aspirations to play pro ball, and it didn't really work out for him. But as a parent, sometimes we see our kids different than what coaches will see their kids, and really trying to do a true assessment of, what level of baseball would my son be happy at? Because, there's only going to be so many SEC players, ACC players, Division I players, but I believe, when I look back at my path and was forced to go to junior college, but I had a great experience playing junior college baseball, and then really wanted to play Division I baseball, but wasn't good enough to play Division I baseball, and realizing if I go to Southeast Missouri State, it was Division II at that time, and get to play, I'm probably going to be happy. And that I think that's where we really have to help our kids, be successful. We have to be real with them, and we, sometimes we need outside assistance, and then we need to count on somebody that's going to be real with us. And I just think of a couple of my cousins that ask me that information for their boys that are playing high school ball right now. And as much as I want to say that they're Division I players, I have to be honest and say that hey, they'll be happy if they get on the field and they're in a college and the university has a degree that they want, and they get to go play baseball and get the degree they want. They're going to be happy, and who knows? I mean, you guys get found from all over. You're still giving yourself a chance as long as you're playing baseball, and you're probably going to be really happy the fact that you're playing as opposed to sitting on the bench at maybe a bigger school.
Hey, Steve, when it's all over, when it's all said and done, what would you like your players to remember when they played for you?
The biggest thing is that, you have those championship teams, and for some reason it's like those are the guys that really stay connected to you. But then you look back and you try to figure out, why were we a championship team? And you think about those relationships that you were building during that year, and maybe it's the fact that the personalities matched up better, and the team just all came together and all that. But the biggest thing for me is that when this is all said and done, I hope to be invited to my players' weddings when they get married, and get notifications when they have their first child. I hope that's how I'm remembered, that I was I wasn't just a baseball coach, that I really invested and communicated and really built a personal relationship with each one of my players. And, when I say that, it's just kind of, Jason Haggerty, one of my Vianney guys, that they just had their first child and got a picture, shortly after she was born. And those are the things that are really special to you as a coach.
You're right. And I think that I look back over my time and I think of all those relationships. They're very special, and I'm very fortunate to have had them. And I know for you will have many, many more. Hey, I just want to thank you for spending a few minutes with us and sharing your insights and your time. I've really, really enjoyed it. And I really wish you nothing but the best. You do a great job. You're a great person. And I know you're going to continue to do some great things down at Missouri.
I really enjoyed our discussion with Steve Bieser, head baseball coach at the University of Missouri. Steve's journey from St. Genevieve, Missouri, through 2 junior colleges, on to Southeast Missouri State when it was a Division II program, and ultimately on the pro ball, was really unbelievable. It was fascinating. And while Steve wasn't born with the most amount of talent, he certainly displayed his passion and his persistence. Sometimes I think we assume that all the guys who play in the big leagues, they have the most talent. And the fact of the matter is that while you have to have talent to play in the big leagues, the guys that ultimately make it may not be the ones with the most talent. They may be guys that have a combination of talent and persistence. And I think Steve Bieser certainly displayed that. Remarkable story. I really appreciated Steve's take on recruiting and his candid comments on the process of recruiting today. I think it's very important for parents not to lose sight of the importance of being a student athlete. You have to be more than just a player. So if you really want to give yourself the best chance to be recruited, make sure that the academic side is just as polished as the baseball side. For you coaches out there, Steve's comment on creating a culture of team was really, really important. I think this might be one of the most difficult things we face as coaches. How to get 25 guys on your ball club all pulling for one another, especially when somebody wins the starting job and somebody doesn't. That's a tough one. But I think it's very important that we begin to understand that it's something that we can do, and we have to look for ways to achieve that. I was fascinated with Steve's idea on pitch recognition software. I think it's something that is in the future. I think that ultimately most coaches will use it. I know I'm personally beginning to use it in all my face-to-face instruction as well as my online academy. I hope you enjoyed our discussion with Coach Bieser. Please share the link to this podcast episode on Facebook and Twitter.